In this video, I have two different 2020 IndyCar mods for Assetto Corsa to review. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them, then take them for a test drive. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604 and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. What you are looking at is the Race Sim Studio Formula Americas 2020. As you can probably tell, this is a recreation of the current year IndyCar, complete with halo and aeroscreen. And we knew about 24 hours before it was released that we were going to get this a bit out of left field. Race Sim Studio, they always make fantastic mods, but it's hard to predict sort of where they're going to focus their attention next. We've had GT cars from them, we've had, of course, F1 cars over the years, and now we have IndyCars. So very exciting to see them take this on. I like everything they've done up to this point, and this one is no different. This is a very cool car. What makes this very interesting, though, is that it's actually the second release I got in my inbox today of a 2020 IndyCar. Apex Modding reached out to me via one of their collaborators, AC Fan, who you might know. He's made some of the best sound mods for Assetto Corsa ever, and he reached out to me and said, Mike, I'm working with Apex Modding to create a 2020 IndyCar, and it was strange timing, but I gladly accepted, and I've had to drive it. It'll be released in version 1.0 very, very soon, possibly by the time you're seeing this, possibly not, but they're very close with it, so very cool. So back to this one first, the Race Sim Studio Formula Americas 2020. We have two varieties that this comes with. You are looking right now at the road version, but there is also a oval version. As you can see, different aero treatment on it. The gearing's a bit different and made for some of the high-speed circuits. There is definitely an Indianapolis mod that I will link to in the description in case you want to run your own Indy 500. But the car is brilliant, and like all Race Sim Studio cars, visually fantastic, and sound is great, and it drives great. So I'm going to take that out on the track, but first, just a quick look at the Apex Modding version of the 2020 IndyCar. So you're now looking at the Apex Modding 2020 IndyCar, and as you can see, the biggest difference here is the liveries. These are official liveries. Race Sim Studio has never done official liveries. You can find them popping up on Race Department very soon after the release of any of their mod cars, and I suspect this one will be no different. Probably by the time you see this video, there'll already be a number of Formula Americas mods on Race Department to add skins, but the Apex Modding version does come with the official skins. I believe that's a pricing thing. You're making a €1 donation to get the R Factor 2 version of this car, and I suspect the Assetto Corsa version that you're seeing here of the Apex Modding 2020 IndyCar will be about the same price, so you're probably looking about €1 compared to the €4 for the Race Sim Studio version. In terms of which one do I like driving more, they drive quite different in my opinion. The Race Sim Studio version tends toward understeer, and we'll get into this more when I get it out on track. This one tends toward a little bit of oversteer. This one is a lot faster, and I'll get into a lot more detail about that as I drive it. But the Race Sim Studio version, you really have to push to get the same results you're seeing in the real world IndyCar. But yeah, both very cool. I like them both, if I'm being honest. I like driving them both more than I like driving the 2018 Formula NA by VRC. I thought the 1999 Formula NA from VRC was just a masterpiece of a car. The 2018, it's quite twitchy for me, and I don't get that as much with either this Apex Modding or the Race Sim Studio version of the 2018 car, which is effectively the same. Of course, you don't have the aeroscreen in the Formula NA 2018, but it's effectively the same car, and I think I prefer either of these cars versus the Formula NA 2018. But with that said, we'll get into a bit more about how it drives as I take these out on track, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so here we go. Clutch out, and we're away for our first lap in this Formula Americas 2020. Just a slight understeer tendency, especially on turn-in in the default road setup. Also carrying a lot of fuel here, 70 liters loaded by default. Great track, by the way, this Road America. You can see the airplane carrying the banner up there in the sky. The aeroscreen, not much of a hindrance. Certainly no worse than the halo used in F1. In fact, maybe a little bit better. It seems like that center column is a little bit shorter, or a little bit narrower, I should say. Oh, come on, Mike. Hardly hit an apex so far on this lap. Should be flat out across this right-hander here. It's a beautiful driving car. More or less neutral handling, a little bit of understeer on corner entry, but nothing too bad. And comparatively forgiving, especially when you look at the Formula Hybrid 2018, 2019, something like that. This is a much more forgiving drive. .148 on that lap. So somewhat of a race pace right now, which makes sense with a full load of fuel. Car sounds are excellent. I don't know how much you can hear over my stupid voice, but it does sound really, really nice. Ooh, and another missed apex there. That one pretty brutal. I put in about 10 laps before I started this video. It was much more consistent than I am now. It's a little bit harder when you get the mic on. And something that's really spectacular about the way this car drives is how much the aero affects it. You'll notice I'm only getting understeer in the lower speed corners, so it's fairly obvious what needs to be tuned out. High speed corners are no problem. That was a better finish to the lap. So finish only slightly ahead of the previous. We'll go one more here, guys. Very, very enjoyable drive. Braking a little bit later that time. Back on the power reasonably early. Broke too early that time. Managed to get it around. Up about 4/10 on the previous lap, so that was a pretty good corner for me. You can see the miles per gallon there registering on the steering wheel. Much smoother through the corner that time. Far from perfect, but improving, I'd say. And yeah, what do you say? Another Race Sim Studio car, another Race Sim Studio piece of brilliance. It's awesome. I'm not necessarily the guy to push it to its limit, but I would like to see what some people can really do with this car. It seems like it would be a good race car, not just a hot lapping car though, because of that neutral handling. Should be down in the 147s. No, not quite. Low 148s. But yeah, just spectacular. What do you say? What do you say? Time after time, Race Sim Studio just delivers. This is no different. If you're at all a fan of IndyCar, I mean, yeah, don't think twice about this one. This one is brilliant. I'm still struggling with it in many respects, but even at that, it's fantastic. All right, let's have a look at the Apex. All right, guys, so here we go. This is the Apex. And this car, a lot more twitchy. I'm gonna say it's faster overall. I'm already screaming past 300. Right at the edge of traction through that last right-hander, but managed to shoot out a pretty good exit. No timing yet on my wheel, but I can tell you right now this is a lot faster. Whoops, not a lot of grass there. I'm just ripping around that right-hander. I'm gonna say there's a bit much aero grip here. Never mind, I have timing on the screen up above my monitor there, and a 1 minute 40 seconds. So yeah, a little bit fast here. That's fully 8 seconds faster than what I was doing in the Race Sim Studio car. If I'm not mistaken, the qualifying time, ooh, come on, Mike. The qualifying time was a 1:42 last year, so this one's a bit overpowered. Drives really nice though. I like the feeling of the car. I think there's just too much of it. The sounds, as you might expect, are excellent. See how hard we can push around this long right-hander here. It's still fully flat out. So yeah, I took that entirely flat. So if I can run clean here, I'll be down into the 130s, so quite a bit too fast. And a bad finish to the lap, but that's okay. It's kind of a waste of a lap anyway. All right, we'll finish one more here. See if we can get down into the 130s. A clean lap, that is. Up 2/10 and climbing. Just a screaming fast car. Yeah, really nice actually. The smoothness that we got with the Race Sim Studio car is kind of put to the side with this one. This is a much more rough and dirty. Feels much more F1 than the Race Sim Studio version. Alright, need a clean finish here. Should be comfortably below 140. There we go, 139.39. Very cool, this Apex. Way overpowered, but it's nicely done. Sounds great, looks great, drives very, very nice. Just needs to be taken down a notch. So I'm impressed with both. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Enjoy the replays, and we will see you next time.